Welcome to Let's Talk Football with me, Chris.
And me, Richard.
The podcast bringing you the latest in football news. Every week we discuss all the big talking points from the world of football and preview all the action in the week to come.
In this week's podcast, it's all about the L's in the relegation battle as a loss for Leeds sees them relegated, while a screamer from Decore sees Everton survive, with Leicester going down despite winning their game against West Ham. And in the fight for the final European spot, Villa come out on top.
Lots and lots to get on with this weekend in what was an action-packed final weekend of the Premier League. So, let's talk football. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to another week of the podcast as we wind up the Premier League season and look forward to the big FA Cup final and other European finals going on this week.
Yeah, it's a busy couple of weeks in Europe for English clubs. Yeah.
Going on.
All three finals have got an English flavour to them.
Well, sort of. I mean, Roma and doesn't.
Well, technically, Jose Mourinho is.
He's well connected in the English game. I suppose you could technically say Chris Smalling's probably going to play in that game as well.
Exactly. Tentative links, Christopher.
There are some links to English football, I guess. But let's start with the Premier League final day, which all kicked off Sunday afternoon in a very interesting kind of dynamics playing out at the bottom of the table, I thought, throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, because
obviously
how it panned out. Yeah.
At one point, I mean, Leeds were the only one who really weren't any way close to surviving. But between Everton and Leicester, it was a bit touch and go as to who at given points in the afternoon.
Yeah, it didn't change an awful lot. Obviously, Leicester going in front against West Ham then put the pressure on Everton because it was 0-0 at that point.
Yeah.
Obviously, Leeds had already conceded twice, I think, by the
they
time
were kind
Leicester
of done early.
scored. Yeah.
They were done early, Leeds, I'm afraid.
Yeah, to be fair, we found a team that can't defend.
Oh, yeah, from a Tottenham point of view.
Yeah. And they just opened up and gave us all the space we needed. It was wonderful.
So weird. It's so weird.
I mean, Lucas Moura. I have to mention Lucas Moura. Yeah. What a way to end your time with a football club. Literally the last kick of the game.
Gets a goal.
Runs past about 3 or 4 of them. Slots it beyond the goalkeeper. Yeah, fabulous.
Yeah, where was that for the last 3 years?
Well, that's his first goal of the season.
But yeah, no, I think
season. Anyway,
Leeds didn't show any fight. I didn't think it was.
No, I mean they went behind really early, and obviously going behind that early knocked the stuffing out of the crowd because they were like, right, okay, we needed to win the game anyway, but we now need to come from behind to win the game.
I think Sam's own arrogance has cost him and cost Leeds. Because once Leeds had kind of made the decision, you bring in Sam in. But I think he shot himself in the foot in the first week when he came out with all that ridiculous
I'm better than everybody else sort of thing.
Oh, no, well, no one's better than me, wasn't it? And he's obviously just got this inner belief that he's got this entitlement that he can turn anybody around, and it just never worked.
No.
I think the appointment was weird anyway. I said that at the time because it just didn't feel like the Leeds squad suits Sam anyway. No. And the way he wants to set a team up. He was on
a bit of a hiding to nothing anyway. Obviously, we're only 4 games. There's not really an awful lot you can implement in that time.
Yeah.
As you said, or what you said when it happened, what you read online, that, instead of losing 4-1, ironically.
Yeah.
And they'd only lose 2-1.
But they actually lost 4-1 in the end anyway.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, the whole thing was a bit strange. I just feel like he's kind of come in with the bluster and all the stuff. Everyone's saying he's deflecting from the players, but it was a Man City game that he did that on. You don't need to deflect from the players going into a game against Man City.
No.
You just need to concentrate on getting them working hard again.
Yeah, and that was the thing that they were doing Sunday, to be fair. They were working hard, but we were just picking them off.
Yeah, the space was there though. Yeah. They weren't compact, were they, at all? The space was there all the time, and I don't think they necessarily worked massively hard. I thought that they stood off you a lot of the time. they didn't seem to be in a shape a lot of the time either. I think they were trying to go a bit.
No, I think when they were trying to chuck bodies forwards, once they got the goal back, obviously they conceded pretty much straight away.
I just think maybe the approach to the game was wrong. Maybe they were trying to go at Tottenham rather as actually their best bet was to stay in the game for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And then, play on the lack of confidence that Tottenham have had.
Yeah. Get the crowd
season
behind you.
Yeah. Because if you're 0-0 and it's 10 minutes to go at Ellen Road,
you can nick a goal and
something can happen,
things.
right?
Yeah.
And you never know. I mean, it didn't matter in the end, obviously, because the other two teams managed to get a win, and Everton won, which made everything kind of pointless. But yeah, there was nothing from Leeds. I watched the Everton game. Sorry, I watched live.
I was trying to watch all three. To be fair, it was quite difficult to keep up with all.
I have to concentrate on one. There's no point me trying to concentrate on more than one game. And I thought Everton did very well, actually.
They rode their luck. I thought a little bit,
but I thought actually I didn't. I mean, Jordan Pickford towards the end had to make some good saves, but Bournemouth weren't. Bournemouth were ready for their break.
Yeah,
I think
they'd done
they did all right. They did all right. Bournemouth. Everton's problem all season has been a lack of goals, and that was the problem that they had really in the game. And then Decore comes up with probably a goal he'll never score again ever in his career.
He will never have to buy another drink in that side of Liverpool.
No, probably not. Everywhere he goes, he sees an Everton fan, he'll get a drink. But it was a good performance in the end by Everton. I thought they did what they needed to do.
Well, final 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a lot of added time at the end of that game.
Yeah.
And they managed it well.
They did, and the crowd were there. The crowd were there all game for the players, not so much the board, but they were there for the players.
Yeah, but obviously at that point, if Bournemouth had scored, that would have been disaster.
Oh yeah, it would have been. Yeah, but they did. To be fair, but Pickford made, I think, one really good save, and I think they had another chance, Bournemouth, but they didn't look troubled too much. Everton defensively, I thought. As soon as when you looked at the defence that they had out there, when I saw you got Connor Cody at the base of it, that experience, I thought, you know what, I think they'll be all right. And Yerry Mina had been playing really well the last few weeks, and Tarkovsky as well. I thought that's you can build on that as a foundation.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was surprised when Sean Dyche came in that Connor Cody was kind of out of the team, because I thought he's a leader on the pitch. He'll drag others along with him.
That's it. And they did really well. And I thought Leicester gave a good go at it on the last day. They got the win they needed to, but the damage was done before them for Leicester. I think, you think of the start of the season that they had. I think the damage was done back then, really, when, what was it, like 1.7 or something like that that they got.
Something ridiculous. But yeah, if you go into the final day with a deficit, needing something to go your way somewhere else, invariably it's not going to happen.
Absolutely. So, fair play to Everton. They will stay in the Premier League for
still part
another
of the
season.
ever-present club.
Yeah, but things need to change at Everton big time, I think.
Yeah, because I saw the interview with Jordan Pickford afterwards. He was like, "We cannot let this happen again." And I felt
that's what the same.
Jordan,
they were all. They were all
last season, son.
Well, they were all saying the same. They said they can't. This is. Connor Cody said the same thing. He said, "Look, we were here last year. Well, they were here last year. We're here again this year." Said we can't. We need something needs to change at the club, which I thought was very pointed.
Well, Connor Cody's obviously he's not going to be around next season, so he can say what he likes pretty much.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting.
It's quite telling. Obviously, the ownership at Everton. There's a lot of clubs, to be fair, that are looking at their ownership at the moment and going, "You should be doing better." And I think Everton are definitely in that category.
Absolutely. So let's move to the other, thing that was still up for grabs in the league, and that was the last European spot, the Conference League spot. Everything else had kind of been decided before the final day.
Yeah.
And
Villa. They've done very well under
Villa have had a really good back end of the season, haven't they? Well, ever since Emery come in.
Yeah, he's actually transformed that squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it just worked, but the quality was obviously always there. It's just that Gerrard couldn't make it work, and that's something he'll have to go away and learn about. To be quite honest, because you know, he was a very emotional player.
Yeah,
I thought, you know, he played a lot on emotion, sometimes probably more than tactics at times. I think Gerrard, and maybe that's something he needs to work on as a manager.
Maybe, yeah. It certainly looks that way anyway. Obviously, you know, am I disappointed we missed out on Europe? No, I don't think so. Because there's a twofold reason why.
Go on then.
One, we can get our act together.
Yeah.
And, you know, properly sort out the squad without the distraction of playing Conference League. You know, with all due respect to the Conference League, it's not the quality of the Champions League and the Europa League, team-wise. And two, it will do what the fans want it to do. It will hurt Daniel Levy in his back pocket. Because he won't have those extra games that he would have had we been in Europe.
There's a good chance you're going to lose Harry Kane this summer, though, one way or another.
I wouldn't be so sure.
I just don't see how he stays now.
I think
what is there to stay for?
Well, I think the options are limited as to where he goes. Obviously, Manchester United is an option for where he goes.
Yeah.
But by the sounds of it, they're not even thinking about negotiating with us because they know it's going to be difficult and they want to get something done quickly.
That's not what I'm hearing.
Yeah. That's not what you're hearing. That's what I was hearing.
No.
Okay.
From our side, there's very much an interest in getting Harry Kane in.
Yeah.
And he's one of our priorities, apparently.
Okay. As I've said many times before, 120, you can have him. Anything less, forget it.
He's got 1 year left on his contract.
Don't care.
What if Daniel Levy could get 70 million this summer?
No.
Or nothing next season.
70 million
right?
won't replace him.
When you know you need to rebuild your squad.
Yeah.
That 70 mil could go into that.
Yeah. But that
or he goes for nothing. You've done nothing to improve your squad this summer because you haven't got the investment. Because somebody's got to go, right? Somebody's got to go for you to be able to invest properly. You've got a biggish squad. Yeah. You've invested loads the last couple of seasons. People have got to go. You've got to get some money in to be able to refresh your squad. You've not got European football to pull people in.
Yeah.
Right? So you've got to pull people in with money. And the only way you're going to get more money is you've got this big carrot of Harry Kane to get some money for, who's a year off leaving.
Yeah.
Because I have no doubts in my mind that if he doesn't go this summer, he'll go next summer.
Yeah, agreed.
And he'll go for nothing.
Yeah.
And I just don't see Daniel Levy letting Harry Kane go for nothing.
Well, let's look at it logically. I
think that is the logic.
So if you're saying 70, which I don't think is the right figure, I think you're looking closer to 100.
Potentially, but
yeah.
I was just putting the number out there to say, would you rather have 70k in your back pocket now, plus what Harry's got left on his wage, or have nothing next summer?
Because essentially, with Harry Kane, if we sell him for whatever price we sell him for, whether it's 90, 100, 120, whatever, we need to buy 2 players.
Yeah.
To fit that bill, to fill his shoes. I don't think, as you've quite rightly said, we are in a position to do that.
Yeah, but what good is it next season? You're just going to have another... You can't get a manager.
I think...
Let alone attract players. You can't attract a manager to the project.
I think Harry Kane will be the one that will push it. And I think he will stay for another year and go for nothing next season.
I don't agree. I just don't see in my mind how Daniel Levy, when a bid comes in, and he's looking down the barrel, and he's going, he goes for nothing, or we can get something.
Yeah.
He will take something over nothing.
It has to be the right number, though.
Yeah, he's not going to sell him for 10 mil.
No.
Is he?
No, but he's not going to
sell him.
He's not going to sell him for 70 either.
But at the same time, there'll be a point where he's got to go. Something's got to happen here because you can't get a manager. You're going to lose a few players this summer anyway.
We're probably going to ship out a few. Yeah.
Yeah. But you need a refresh of your squad.
We do.
But
we do.
Harry Kane is your big selling point, to be quite, your big money point.
But then is that also counterintuitive that if we want to try and bring players in, we can say, look, we have Harry Kane. You can feed off of him. You can work off of him.
Yeah, but for a player, you go in when he's out of contract next year.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, if you go, right, Kane's gone, we're going to build a new team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be, you might turn around to whoever it is you're going to make as your big signing. You're going to be the new man. You're the guy. Harry Kane, we're moving on. He's going to do his thing. You're the guy. Keeping older Son's going to be difficult as well, by the way.
Probably, yeah.
But I think, if you can keep Son and you give him someone new to play with up there.
Yeah.
And you just go, right, I think from Tottenham it might actually work out for him. Just to go, right, okay, we're going to get this money from Kane. We can get someone in young now. You could go for, because if we go for Kane, we're not going to get an Osimhen in. You could go for Osimhen.
Or you could just buy Osimhen and forget about it.
Well, we probably won't get him because we seem to be fixated on getting some English players in.
Yeah.
Because the three main players I've seen us linked with are Rice, Kane, and Mount.
Mount's an interesting one.
Mount's an interesting one. I think they'd want to put him. I don't think he'd play further forward for us. I think they'd want him
in the two.
With Eric, as an Ericsson kind of.
Yeah.
Imagine us having Mount and Rice together. I wouldn't mind it, to be honest.
Well, Rice is going to Arsenal. I have no doubt about that.
You reckon he's going to go Arsenal? I don't think he'll go Arsenal.
I have no doubt about that. Unless Chelsea come into it. I think he'll go to Arsenal.
We'll see how that plans out. But those are the three that we've been linked with this summer.
I mean,
mainly
we've been linked with players.
I mean, we get linked with lots of players.
We haven't got a manager yet.
You haven't got a player? No, you haven't got a manager. You see what I mean? This is the problem, right?
We've been linked with players. We're linked with the Solomon bloke from Fulham.
Not possible, is it? We haven't got a manager. Ain't got a manager. Ain't got a manager in place, but we're going to buy all the players.
Exactly. So no decision. I would imagine that the managerial situation will be sorted out in the next week and a half or so.
I reckon you're going to end up keeping Ryan Mason.
No. I don't think we will. We will either end up with Postecoglou, the Celtic fella.
Yeah.
We will either end up with Luis Enrique.
You can't get finals manager.
Won't get finals manager, no.
You can't. No, you can't get finals manager.
I know we can't get finals manager.
So why do you think you're going to get a Celtic manager?
Scott Munn. Scott Munn. He and Scott Munn worked together when he was out in Australia managing.
Okay.
So there's a link there between those two.
I can't see Luis Enrique coming. I'm sorry.
Luis Enrique, he sounds like he's going to Napoli.
That's pipe dream stuff, yeah.
Yeah. The other one, and it's my pick, to be fair, so it means it won't happen, Graham Potter.
Graham Potter's, yeah. He needs a job.
I do not want Brendan Rodgers.
I don't think it'll be... Well, it could be Rodgers if there's no one else.
No, I'd rather do it myself. Give it to Brendan Rodgers.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, no.
I think you're being, to be fair, and obviously, he's got Liverpool links, so I'm not always fair to that. But to be fair to Brendan Rodgers,
yeah,
he did an outstanding job with that Leicester team.
Yeah.
And then they didn't invest in the team for him, and that's what happened just, right?
But he has turned the job down twice already. He doesn't want to manage us. So fine.
But he didn't want to leave Leicester because he thought he could get Leicester into the Champions League.
And look where they're now going.
Well, yeah, but the investment left, didn't they? After the tragedy.
Yeah, to be fair, obviously the son is not quite as invested as what the dad was. Yeah.
Yeah, and things changed at the club, and there was probably a bit of loyalty in Brendan over that, to be honest. Just try and see the club through, but then they couldn't invest. So I think you're being harsh on Brendan Rodgers, actually, a former Celtic manager, by the way. So let's not disrespect this when you're quite happy to take the current Celtic manager.
I'm not quite happy to take him. I'm just seeing the logic from that one.
Right.
I've told you who my pick is.
Well, yeah, that's not going to happen.
I think Graham Potter's in with a good shout. I mean, we're scraping the barrel, but...
And again, I think Graham Potter would be a good appointment.
He would
as
be
well.
a good appointment. Yeah. Take the
he'd have a
Chelsea
squad he could actually
stink
manage.
out of it. Yeah. He done wonders with Brighton. It's exactly what we need.
Yeah, you need a project build.
Yeah.
And the Chelsea job was ridiculous for anybody who went in there.
Yeah, good luck.
To be quite honest.
By the way.
I think they've got a chance to sort it this summer, though.
By the sounds of it,
they've got to get players out the door.
He's going in there and going, you're going, you're going, you're
They've
going.
got to get players out the door.
Yeah, that's got to be first priority. Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be interesting to see what they do in terms... Well, they need us number 9, don't they? They need a striker.
They're talking...
That'll be another team in for a striker.
I saw something about Romelu Lukaku again.
What, bringing him back? I mean, he's only out on loan, isn't he?
Yeah, and keeping him.
But
to be fair, with a Pochettino pre-season under his belt, Romelu Lukaku will be a beast.
yeah, I don't know whether he's got that dedication in him.
Well, if he doesn't, he'll find himself out.
Yeah, I just don't think he has. I think you just look at his career over the years. When someone's pushed him physically,
he's got injured. Yeah.
Yeah, or he just doesn't care.
No.
He just doesn't buy into it.
No. He slimmed down for one club, didn't he? Who did he slim down for?
It was with us, I think. In a second season, I think.
That was under
Mourinho got
Van Gaal, wasn't it?
No, he didn't join us until Mourinho.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was the second season with Mourinho. I think he sent him away for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the start of that bad season that we had when he left.
I think if he comes back to Chelsea, I think he does well.
He might.
Maurizio will put his arm around him.
Do, but I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know whether he's got the level of commitment that's going to be needed, to be honest, to stay ultra fit. And I think that's why Italian football suited him.
Yes,
it's a slower pace.
Definitely.
He can buddy defenders. He can do his thing over there. Where I think the pace of the Premier League. I mean, we know how good he is. He'll get you goals.
Yeah.
Apart from when he was at Chelsea last. But yeah, we'll see. But that's what Chelsea need to do, I think, this summer. Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how we go. I mean, obviously, we've got the FA Cup final this weekend. Which,
you have to stop Manchester City.
Oh, we've got to, but I don't think we can.
No, I don't think you can. I think Inter might.
I don't know. I think they roll. I think they roll Inter over.
People.
I'll tell you what. The one thing was, I was watching Sky Sports News yesterday.
Yeah.
And one of the guys on there, can't remember his name. One of the reporters,
right, was
like, they asked him, "Do you think they'll win the treble?" And he went, "Yeah, I think they'll beat Inter Milan." And I was like, "Hang on a minute, mate." I was like, "Hang on a minute, mate. You're forgetting about United here." He just went straight over that, and I was like, for that, I think we deserve it. We deserve to knock with that. That might be the omen that helps us out a little bit.
Just gonna get steamrolled by Man City.
Yeah, he just completely discounted us. He was just like, "Will they win the treble?" "Yeah, I think they'll beat Inter." I was like, "What? Are you okay, lad?"
Did you immediately turn it over and start writing an email?
To not even mention us, I thought was just a bit rude. To be quite honest, and quite disrespectful. Like, he just didn't even contemplate. It was so weird. It's such a weird take. But I think it's going to be a struggle for us, to be honest. We're going to have to be at our best. I mean, I was looking, actually, and something that's been quite under the radar. Everyone's been talking about our away record, particularly against the top half teams. The only team City beat away from home in the Premier League, who finished in the top half of the table,
was
Arsenal.
Oh.
They only beat one. They only won one away game against the top. Oh, they said the top 9, so it must go down to
Brentford.
Yeah. To Brentford, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, they did lose to Brentford, didn't they, on the last day of the season? So their away record's not been brilliant. Us both going to Wembley will be interesting. Our record at New Wembley's not brilliant, though. You don't know. It's a final and anything can happen.
Anything can happen in the final. Yeah.
And we have to stop them.
You keep telling yourself that, son.
We have to. The thing is, they've taken their foot off the pedal, haven't they, the last couple of games, City?
Yeah, but
We
today.
haven't exactly.
They'll be back in
100%.
training, and they will be.
100%. 100%. 100%. You know, I'm aware I'm taking all the copium available to me. But it's like we've fought in our last couple games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
So
and stayed at a level.
Yeah.
And stayed at a level.
Yeah.
Whereas they dropped off a little bit. But
They
I
can
have
switch
no
it back
doubts.
on again. Yeah.
I have no doubts in my mind, unfortunately, that they'll be up for it. You know, it's going to be massive. It's just whether Pep outplays himself and does something daft, like he did in the Champions League final against Chelsea.
Yeah. Overthinks it. Yeah.
You know, our best hope is, you know, I think we'll have to go with Rashford down the middle.
Yeah, because no Martial. Yeah.
Well, we've got no Martial anyway, but I would have gone with Rashford down the middle anyway, because I'd rather him go through the middle than have to be against Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
Maybe have Garnacho, someone a bit more trickier out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sancho's picked up a bit of form the last couple of games.
Yeah.
Out on the right for us. Obviously, we were without Anthony. And I think between the three of them, there's a bit of danger in there. Bruno's been on fire, as he normally has been. I wouldn't be surprised if Fred comes in, though, for Eriksen. And he'll go for the legs. Because, you know, one of the issues that we have with Casemiro, Casemiro and Eriksen as a midfield, is obviously their age is a bit against
and
them.
Engine.
And their engine's getting about. I mean, Casemiro probably, you know, going to get there, whereas Eriksen is probably a little bit less, obviously, in terms of what he can give in the defensive area of the pitch. Whereas I think Fred's quite fancied, and Fred and Casemiro have had a history of doing well for Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But not having Martinez is a massive loss.
So that means Shaw and Varane.
No, it'll be Lindelof and Varane. Yeah, because Lindelof's been really good actually, but going forward, you know, when we're trying to build, that's where we're missing Martinez and his fight and his, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That part of the game, I think with having Shaw at centre back, we've lost out at times going forward.
Yeah, because Shaw's good on the.
Shaw's so good going forward. Yeah, so good going forward. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I have no doubts, will look after Jack Grealish.
Oh.
I don't. To be fair, I don't. I just who's ever got the better of Wan-Bissaka?
I mean, I'm gonna clip that for next week.
Who's ever got the no? Seriously, in one-on-one take-on situations, Tell me. Give me an answer to that question.
What was the question?
Who has ever gotten the better in a 1v1 over Aaron Wan-Bissaka?
I mean, I don't watch Manchester United games that often, so I couldn't tell you.
Nobody is the answer to that question. He's phenomenal in a 1v1. Like, even Zaha was like, I remember him saying after the game that we played against him, and he was about to go in on goal, I think. He said he looked over his shoulder and saw Aaron and thought, oh, no. Right? That's what he does to attacking players.
So, in other words, we're going to be talking next week about Aaron Wan-Bissaka taking out of his back pocket his wallet, his keys, and Jack Grealish. Folks.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they've got Haaland, they've got De Bruyne, they've got Bernardo Silva. They've got Mahrez. Gundogan pops up. Yeah, Alvarez. Gundogan likes to pop up with a goal.
Rodri.
Exactly. So it's inconsequential in many respects. Foden could come into it at some point as well.
Yeah, we forgot about
so you know, Foden versus
he might be able to keep
Wan-Bissaka
Jack
will be an
Grealish
interesting
quiet,
battle.
but I'm not necessarily.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? That's the point. The danger comes from everywhere else, but it's worrying. But we've got players that can do damage to them, and I think we have to remember that. You know, I think between
but they have more.
Yeah, but we just need our best players to be at their very best.
And you need
and we
to
can
hope City
and we can
have an
do
off
something.
Day. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can definitely do something. You know, we rested Luke Shaw and Varane and Wan-Bissaka at the weekend, and I think all three of them will come in.
Be interesting. Be interesting to see what happens in the cup final.
It's going to be very interesting.
It's on at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, proper cup final day.
Final.
Proper cup final day on Saturday.
Good. I'm glad.
I'll be settling in I hope the coverage starts really early as well. I used to love doing that.
Yeah, it used to
FA
start
Cup final
really
day.
early, didn't it? I don't think
Yeah.
it does. I think it's more 1 o'clock time.
Yeah, we used to love going early doors, get the coverage going, watch the buses come in.
Yeah. As they
All of that
struggled to
stuff.
get to Wembley
Yeah,
because of the train strike. Oh dear.
but yeah, it'll be very, very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, we haven't really talked about a lot of the other games. I think the only other game worth mentioning, well, Arsenal, pressure was off, decided to smack Wolves, but that was inevitable considering that they had nothing to play for anymore.
Yep.
And the 4-4 draw, Southampton said their farewell to the Premier League with an absolute cracker of a game. Liverpool's defending, by the way, absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
Absolutely atrocious. What is Trent doing? I don't know what Liverpool do with Trent.
Play him in midfield.
Well, can you play him in midfield? Can you play him? Can you play him as a midfielder though?
I would play.
His defensive awareness is so poor. I'd think about number 10, to be quite honest.
To be fair, we've had this same conversation with Pedro Porro.
I'd be
I
like,
think Pedro Porro is awful defensively, but going forward, he's amazing.
I'd be tempted to stick Trent at 10.
Yeah.
So he hasn't got to worry about defending at all.
No.
Just get him on the ball in the centre of the pitch and say, because that is where he's at his best.
Yeah. Get
Like,
him
go
in
and
the
do that
attacking
for
third
us.
where he can hurt teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted.
Not hurt yourself. Yeah.
He just needs to. He just seems like he doesn't care about defending at all. The way he played at the weekend, I was just like, he doesn't care, does he?
Maybe he's given. Well, we've had this conversation about
Doesn't
Liverpool
care.
a lot this season. Obviously, with the two fullbacks, they are told to go as high as they can.
Yeah, but
And
the
the
end, you
midfield
think you
got to
think
cover
about the
space. Yeah.
you think about Liverpool when they're at their best. Yes, that was happening all the time.
Yeah.
But they were getting back.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be bothered going the other way at the minute. You know, Robertson does put a bit more effort in doing it that way, but Trent doesn't care.
Maybe he's been told not to. Who
Yeah,
knows?
but why? No, you can't be. Why would you be told not to care about your defensive job when you're in the back? When you're in the back four,
Don't know. James
Not like you're a
Milner's,
wing
James
back.
Milner's there. He can cover the space.
it's not like you're a wing back. Well, he's not there next season. You can sound like he's a wing back, and you've got an extra centre back you can drift over.
It's fine. I'm quite happy seeing him going forward, to be fair.
I'd said stick him number 10. But the thing is, though, that's all well and good saying, I don't mind him doing that, blah, blah, blah. But from a Liverpool point of view, if they can score all the goals in the world, but they can't keep it out the other end.
No.
That's why they've had a bad season.
That's why they've ended up in 5th place. Yeah. And not in the Champions League.
That's why they've had a bad season in the end, because they've conceded way too many goals. Yeah.
Which is...
Going the other way,
Yeah.
they're probably still up there, aren't they? Like 70, 80 goals again, probably, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've scored 5 more than we have, but we've conceded a hell of a lot more than they have.
But going the other way, dreadful. Honestly, awful. All season. But that pretty much, that's all there's a few other bits and pieces going on. Palace and Forest drew, Chelsea, Newcastle drew. We talked about Brentford beating City. But yeah, I think that wraps us up for the Premier League this season.
All done.
And we'll see what happens next year. Right, do you want to take us around the world?
Yes,
and see
I
what's
do.
going on?
Because there has been a lot happening around the world as we start to come in to the end of the season, where it finished this weekend in the Bundesliga. It went down to the last kick of the season as Bayern Munich pipped Dortmund to their 11th straight title. After Dortmund were held by Mainz, Bayern Munich won away at Cologne with Jamal Musiala scoring in the 89th minute to win the game. Wow. There was more drama in Bundesliga 2, where Hamburg were denied automatic promotion by 2 late goals from Heidenheim, the winner coming after the Hamburg fans had already invaded the pitch thinking they were going up. Instead, they faced Stuttgart in the playoff to see if they will be promoted or not. Hashtag Orcs. Is that right? Is that how they say it?
I don't know, but that was equally just as awkward.
Okay, moving on. To Serie A, where the top 4 is all sorted and it's just depending on what order behind Napoli now. The other European places are all set too, so the focus turns to the fight to stay in Serie A. It's between Verona and Spezia, who face Milan and Roma, respectively, on the final weekend. Both away from home as well. Going to be tricky for either of them. In Ligue 1, PSG win the title despite only drawing. Lens's late run sadly came too late. It's between Nantes and Auxerre for the final relegation place. In Spain, it's all sorted at the top as well, so down the bottom we go again. Valladolid occupy the final relegation spot. There are 6 teams involved in the battle. Getafe, Celta Vigo, Almeria, Valencia and Cadiz could all go down. And I think Valladolid face Getafe, which could be a very interesting game. Saudi Arabia is where we head next, where Al Ittihad claimed the title after they won, and Al Nazir could only draw, much to Ronaldo's frustration and mine, because Nuno Espirito Santo is the manager of Al Ittihad. What might have been, eh? To the WSL, where Chelsea were crowned champions for a 4th straight year. The Reading miracle didn't materialise, sadly, as Chelsea beat them by 3-0, so they go down. Manchester United did win, though. They won 1-0 over Liverpool. In the MLS, the pressure continues to build on Inter Miami boss Phil Neville after they dropped to the foot of the Eastern Conference. They are in good company, though. LA Galaxy are bottom of the Western Conference, and they have a great history, obviously, in the MLS. And finally, to the EFL playoffs, where for the first time ever, all 3 finals went to extra time. 2 of them went the distance as Carlisle beat Stockport 5-4 on penalties. In League 1, a late goal from Josh Windass, son of former Hull striker Dean Windass, secured Sheffield Wednesday's place in the Championship, seeing off 10-man Barnsley. And finally, in the richest game in football, Luton Town beat Coventry City 6-5 on penalties after Fakir Darbo missed the vital kick to see Luton return to the top division for the first time since the 91-92 season.
Well, there we go. Lots and lots of stuff going on.
Not been a great week for Fakini Darbo. He was released yesterday by Coventry.
That's unlucky.
After missing a penalty.
Yeah, but I don't think it was the cause of it, surely.
No. I think they just decided to go with a sort of a refresh of the squad. Obviously, that squad was still the one that came up from League 1 a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they couldn't quite get it done. But Luton do go up into the Premier League and making up the numbers. So it'll be very, very, very interesting next season to see how they get on.
Interesting to have Luton up.
I bet all the away fans can't wait to go through someone's front living room to get into a stadium. That'll be fun.
You've seen what they've got to do during the summer, though? I
haven't looked into a lot of the detail of the stuff they've got to do.
They've got to knock down a stand.
Right.
Rebuild it. Because obviously they need specific gantry requirements for the television coverage,
TV.
Canteen, things like that. So they've got to knock down a stand and rebuild it in like 6.5 weeks.
Good luck, boys.
But it's going to be great having Luton up. I think I was talking to someone yesterday about Luton. They remind me of what Blackpool did when Blackpool came up. I think they're going to be a breath of fresh air for the Premier League. They're just going to have a go and see what happens.
A proper old story, old school ground as well. So
yeah. No one wants to go to the Kenny, as they said.
No, not indeed. But there we are. Then how's our old friend getting on?
So our football manager wonder kid Donish Avdijaj in the Austrian Bundesliga at Hartberg. He scored.
Let's go.
They won by 2-0 going into the last week of the season. They can still make the playoff. They play the team that are directly above them.
Right. Interesting.
On the final weekend. So they can pip them to second. Come on, Donis. He's been in good form.
See.
He has.
Yeah, he has.
Let's
see what he can do.
3 goals in 4 games.
Yeah, he's smashing it.
Absolutely.
Showing some light at the end of the long season.
Yeah, it has been a long season.
It's been a long season. But there we are. Right, thank you so much for listening this week. That pretty much wraps it up from us. I'd go through fixtures, but there are no...
There are no fixtures, no. I've got nothing to do with the end of the podcast. We've got one
So,
fixture to talk about, and that is the Manchester Derby FA Cup final. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, we've already given you a preview too. But don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, at Let's Football Pod, or you can email us at letsfootballpod@gmail.com. We'll be back next week to discuss the European final and the FA Cup, and look forward to the Champions League final, as well as West Ham's Europa Conference League final as well. But for now, we will see you all next week. So, we'll see you later on.
Bye.
Bye.